to see was. Because of our adventures in foster care, I haven't seen... We haven't been to the movies for quite a while. I think the last movie I remember seeing wasn't at the movies. It was on Netflix or Amazon, I think. Was the Avengers Endgame Part 1. But without any active fosters in the house at the moment, we do have slightly more opportunity to go to the movies. Assuming there's no snow on the ground and we can actually get out of the house, of course. Get this little thing straight. There we go. I have enjoyed many of the superhero movies. I haven't watched many of the DC movies, I must admit. You know, Guardians of the Galaxy. What was the other one? Doctor Strange. That was a good movie. But I liked Guardians of the Galaxy because of the soundtrack. It's so out of, you would think that music would be so out of place in a superhero movie, but it just sets it off so well. But they're not your typical superhero movies. But they're still well done. Okay, this is going to be a little bit more interesting. So I now don't have anywhere to go. And thanks for the chair. But again, when it comes to movies, there are some movies you really need to see in a theatre. But there are so many others where, to be fair, I can watch it on TV and it's just as good. I mean, thinking back to my childhood, Star Wars: A New Hope was go and see it at a movie theatre. And back in my day, back in those days, we had a movie theatre which was an old stage theatre with the circle, the seating elevated at the top at the back. And so they turned sort of the cheap seats into two small screens with about 125 seats in them, and then they had the main screen was the old circle seats, and the screen was on the main theatre stage, and we got to see Star Wars in that movie theatre. And so you think what that Star Destroyer looked like just on a big screen. Well, we were watching it on a huge screen, and so when that happened, you just sort of, that thing's big. Okay, it's really big. Oh my goodness, that is huge. And you just don't get that experience. I don't think you get that experience on a small Metroplex theatre. You definitely don't get that experience at home on the TV. And so, and and the thing was it wasn't a full effects movie theatre. I mean, it was very basic, but the fact that you had a screen that was the size of a theatre stage, that kind of does make a difference. So definitely appreciated that movie, and when I eventually got the movie on VHS, it was sort of you watch it at home and you say, well, I'm sure it was better than this, because you miss that big fills your field of vision effect. But the big action movies definitely benefit from a large screen. Get out the road. Get out the road. I haven't done any 3D movies. My eyes don't work well with 3D glasses. I have very bad, I've got chronically long sight in one eye and kind of normal sighted in the other eye. And that can throw all sorts of perceptions off. We did do Universal Studios Terminator 3D thing, and it kind of looked good, but as I said, my eyes just they suck. So it wasn't as good as it could have been. I think it wasn't as good as they intended it to be, but that was because of my eyesight rather than how good the event was. Okay. Excuse me while I figure out how to do this. There we go. I'm going to hit the post again, aren't I? Yep. There you go. So yeah, in general I haven't bothered with 3D. I can't do VR headsets either, so I just don't bother. Okay, I did that. We now need Cedar again. What is the time? Oh, 6:30. I guess we could do some late night seeding. Get it out of the way for the day. But for the most part, action movies, big screen, intentionally big screen action movies, I will try and get to the movie theatre to watch it for the first time. But a lot of movies, I don't always watch action movies, and when I don't see the point in going to a movie theatre, because you're going for the story, not for the effects. Okay, that's full. Yeah, close that, and I was going to do oats for the last field. Last week I also blitzed watching the second season of the Jack Ryan TV series on Amazon. That's kind of fun. Again, kind of unbelievable, but yeah, it's something you can sit down and veg out to and not worry too much about. And I do like spy TV shows where people get killed. There's a TV show out of England which in England was called Spooks, and the American release on Netflix was called MI5, which is Military Intelligence Unit 5, which was the spy branch. No, hang on. MI5 is the counterintelligence. So not spies. Counter spies, anti-spies. MI6 is the spies. James Bond. But that series ran for about 10 years. 10 seasons. They weren't long seasons, 6, 10 episodes, maybe 12 in a season. But they were perfectly happy to kill off heroes and bad guys alike. And I think of the cast, one person survived from the first episode to the last episode. Pretty much everyone else retired, and it's difficult to retire as a spy, or for the most part got killed. I usually find, I would agree that a lot of times a movie turned into a TV show doesn't work. But I think with services like Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, a TV season is not your typical TV style show. And in that I'm thinking, say, something like Star Trek, where you start the episode, everybody's there that's been there every single week, and you have the problem, Planet of the Week problem to solve, and they spend 75% of the show setting up the problem, 25% of the show fixing it, and returning everything back to status quo. So you can have a little bit of jeopardy at the beginning of the show, but by the end of the show everybody has to be back in their normal places. So you can take the TV show and pretty much broadcast them in any sequence you want to, because the events of an episode do not matter from week to week. And the difference between a standard TV show like that and Netflix, Hulu, other streaming service exclusive content shows is it's not episodic. It's actually it's bigger than a movie, if you like. A movie's got 2 hours. These exclusive shows have 10, 12 hours to tell the story, and it's a continuous story from start to finish. So it's not like an hour, not even an hour show, 45 minute show. It's a 10-hour story. And you can either blitz watch the 10 episodes, or you can, take them as you want, But it is a bigger event than even a movie. So things like the Jack Ryan series do translate quite well into a show like that, because it's a big story. It's not a small event. Now, obviously, you're not getting the big screen action because it's designed for a TV screen. But you are getting, you're getting a story that you can invest in. Then you have to wait a year for the next story. But they have to cut out less than a movie does. If it's obviously with the Jack Ryan stories, they are movies based on the Tom Clancy books, whereas the Jack Ryan TV show is unrelated to the books or the stories in the books, but obviously all the people from the books are included as characters in the TV show, plus extra characters to fill out the story. But I generally like the way they work. And they're not doing any stories based on the books. I think, Tom Clancy was an executive producer on the series, but each of the 2 series so far have been brand new stories. think the next show I'm looking up for is The Expanse on Amazon Prime. And I got into that show very late. No, I'm just saying it's a different presentation. I mean, if NBC, CBS, ABC did a show based on Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan books, characters from his books, I probably wouldn't watch it, because it would be here's an hour story, and you can't do justice in an hour to that sort of genre of books, or that sort of genre of storytelling. But yeah, I actually didn't know anything about The Expanse. First 3 seasons were on Sci-Fi, and I don't get Sci-Fi, so I didn't know about it. But Sci-Fi cancelled the show, and Amazon picked it up and bought 2 new seasons. So there's going to be a season 4 and a season 5. And part of the agreement was they got access to broadcast seasons 1 to 3. So that suddenly came up on my, hey, you might be interested in this show email. So I thought, well, I don't know anything about this, but I'll watch it anyway. And very interesting it was. Go forwards, please. Okay, let's get this all sewn up as fast as we can. So once this is sewn, we'll go back to the farm, put everything away again, and I'll probably do at least a sleep before we finish this. Oh, it's only coming up on 10, so I'm thinking I probably want to end this once we're done here. I'll definitely sleep through the day, and we can review the status on these fields, see how the crops have taken. This should also gain a bonus level of fertilization. I'm not entirely sure, but I think anything you plant that has greater than 1.0 yield earns a fertilization bonus, and then anything you plant that has a less than 1 doesn't. But with seasons you get 3 stages of fertilization instead of 2, which makes up for the calamities you can suffer from lack of germination or death due to lack of water of your crops. Thinking, because the previous crop on this field was sunflowers, we should get the bonus. I could actually check that now more, but what I really want to know is what the germination state is like. Looks like I'm misplanting something there. And there. Go back and patch that up. There we go. Okay. That's all patched, I think. Hard to tell. Kind of getting to the point where we need all the lights on. This is going to be quite a slow playthrough because we're running with 9-day seasons. So we're at the first day of mid-spring. I've done 5 episodes so far. I am running in general ×5 on the time. But rather than being as strict as I was on the old stream farm, where I tried to stay ×5 for the entire playthrough and play for about a little over 2 hours, which made for one game day. This one, if I've got nothing to do, and there's not if at the end of this, if at the end of ploughing I decided I'm not going to bother seeding this field now, I would have bumped up the time so we could get to nightfall and sleep for the night. Because I decided to plant, we stayed at ×5. And we'll work through till the job's finished. Now tomorrow we will I'll probably run the fertilizer over so that we get to our 3rd state of fertilization. But then we'll do contracts, but I'll only do contracts insofar as I can get this one finished during daylight hours, and then it'll definitely be a case of, okay, there's not enough time to do another one, so we'll just fast wind time and do what we can, go to sleep, because contracts don't have to be finished, or we don't have to do contracts. We do kind of need to take care of our fields. See? I'm going to try and get a couple of the FS19 achievements done that I haven't already. I've done most of the small ones. I think I've done all the harvesting ones, but things like seeding and cultivating, making 10 million, probably not going to happen on this